Hey guys, this is a quick update video on how to install the solderless voltmeter kit for the Pint X2R. I've updated the kit with now a solderless install for the voltmeter as well, where you're going to have a power lead that goes in line between the control box and the battery, and then you're going to have a power that goes out to the voltmeter, whether it be on the side, like here on my board, or it's going to be a fender mounted voltmeter on the front. This install is pretty straightforward. You can do this while you install the X2R or after. It's a good upgrade, especially if you want to monitor the amount of range and voltage you have left, so you can gauge how much range you have left on your board. And it's pretty easy. You actually don't have to take apart the whole board. You only need to get to the front control box. And to do that, all you got to do is take apart the front of the board and get the front foot pad off. Before you take off the front foot pad, make sure you take off the fender delete. I'm not going to take mine off because mine's actually made out of flexible material, so I can get to the screws right here on the control board. But let's go ahead and take off the front foot pad. And this is going to be with a T20 Torx screw, and this is a 6-point. For the ones on the 2 on the top, and there's going to be 4 in the front, on the bottom. Okay, now I have my front foot pad off, and what you're going to want to do is untwist your foot pad connection and pull that off. Like so. And now we have access to the front control box. Okay, now once you get to your front control box, you're going to want to take off the 8 screws on the top, and this is going to be with the TS20 5-point security bit. Now I already have a voltmeter installed on my board, but just for the sake of showing you guys, we're going to go ahead and do this install. Okay, go ahead and remove the front control box. Okay, as you can see, I'm still going to have my soldered wire there, but for the sake of the install, we're going to work around it, and I'll show you guys how to install the solder-free voltmeter wire right here. Okay, so once you've got the front control board cover off, what you're going to do at this point, since you have the control board off, you want to drill a hole so that the new wire for the voltmeter is going to be able to pass through from the control box out to the voltmeter. I used the air hole here, and as you can see, I punctured a hole and went through there. You can use that, and all you need to do is drill that open so you can fit this connector in there and for the connector to come out, or you can drill another hole on the side. Then once you've got the wire routed through, then basically you're just going to seal the cover up seal the hole up with the included flex seal tape that I have here, kind of like what I did here for mine. Okay, now we've gotten to the very important part where we're going to install the X2R voltmeter wire inline in the control box. If you did have your board powered on for whatever reason, make sure your board is powered off, and make sure throughout this whole install until we're finished that the board is definitely powered off. Okay, once the board is powered off, and you're never going to touch the power button during this process, you're going to want to unplug this XT60 connector here. Just slowly wiggle out like so. Okay, now we've got our power wire off, and all we're going to do is now we can plug our voltmeter connector inline like so, and then we're going to flex this wire out of the way so it can have space to put in the new wire. Okay, and then we're going to make sure that this installs with the negative towards that side and the positive on this side, kind of matching the connector here. It won't go any other way. As you can see, the positive lead following the positive lead, and then we're going to connect that here like so, and now we're going to have power for the voltmeter. Plug this up with my calibrated voltmeter here. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And yep, this way, just like that. Now we have a voltmeter. Okay, let's turn this back off once we've verified function, and let's get this all tidied up. Now, like I said, I'm not going to do this for mine because I already have a voltmeter installed. But what you're going to want to do to pass this wire through the control board is make sure you drill this bigger so it'll fit this connector. And the reason I went with this connector versus I think I have maybe like 5 voltmeters out there that have a smaller connector. This is a little more robust, a little more weatherproof. And this obviously doesn't fit through that hole, but you can either use that hole, ream it out with a drill, make it big enough so they can fit this connector, or go ahead and in this area here also make a hole so they can fit the connector through. Once you've got your wire through your hole, you're going to want to make sure you have your gasket in place. There's no gaps anywhere, or it's not bunching up anywhere. Make sure it's nice and flat in all the recessions. And then we're going to lay our front control box down. And now you want to torque all the screws in a cross pattern to make sure we have a nice seal on the front control box. Okay, now once you've got your screws all tightened down, this is the point where you're going to have the wire coming out of the control box, and you're actually going to have some extra slack. And the reason why there's so much slack is because depending on if you want the voltmeter mounted on the side like I have on mine, or fender mounted here like so, there's extra slack. And what to do with that extra slack, you're actually going to push that back into the control box so you have the right amount of slack that's going to meet with this connector, whether it be coming from the fender like so, or from the side of the fender delete right here. Then make sure you push the extra slack into the control box. And then once you have the right amount of wire coming out of the control box, then you're going to cover that hole with Flex Seal that I've included here. And that's pretty much it. Once I get the foot pad back on, then all I'm going to do is seal everything back up, get the screws together, and then my wire for the voltmeter would essentially be, if it's for the fender, coming out essentially here. And then I would plug that up with this voltmeter, just for demonstration purposes. And then I can screw that down like so. So aside from putting the board back together and tidy everything up, that's pretty much it. Everything's pretty much straightforward. If you run into any issues, please let me know. Send me an email. But I've had so many users already upgrade to this system with the voltmeter. I just wanted to make sure I put a video out so it's kind of more visual on how to install the wiring system, even though it's pretty straightforward. Really can't mess it up. And like I said, just do make sure you do not power the board at all during the process. Only power it back on once it's all plugged up so you can test once it's finished. Okay, and that's pretty much done for the wiring portion of the install. You do want to make sure your wires are nice and clean and that the wires do not have any chance of running into the wheel. The reason I've included the extra zip ties was to make sure you can tidy up the wires either on the inside of the cable if you're using the side mounted voltmeter, or if you want to tighten up the slack so that the wiring in the fender does not have any chance to run into the tire. And that's pretty much it. Good luck guys, be safe, stay stoked, and see y'all next time.